Hi, this is Dano from Dev Device, and today I have the great pleasure to introduce to you Beryl Brookman from SoulCoach. She is a very special person who I met in my entrepreneurial journey. She was recommended to me by a friend, and I was stuck in my transactions and in hitting the wall with the problems which I was facing over and over again. And she is a person who can look behind things, who can look behind the surface, and who can help us to overcome limiting beliefs, which happen to be a big thing, especially when you are an entrepreneur. If you're trying to figure out your career path on your own, and you keep on having the same problems, chances are these problems are rooted in our subconscious mind. These are things which we have learned and we don't even know that they are governing our life. So let me introduce to you Beryl, who is an expert in overcoming limiting beliefs. Hello, Beryl.
Hi, Dano. Thanks for that nice introduction. And I love the way you said hitting the wall, because I think that's what a lot of people that come to me are doing. They hit a wall. They don't know where to go. They can't see any way out. And I'm the last person on the list who they'll go and visit. And really, I should have been the first.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. So this is the one piece of advice I would give to my entrepreneurial friends and many other people, by the way, to just, check with Beryl whether she can help removing these roadblocks, which we tend to encounter on and on. So tell me, Beryl, how did you become the person who you are? I mean, today you are running your successful soul coach business. You are a soul coach, so you are helping people to become the better version of themselves. I mean, this is not we learn in school, not something we learn in school. So how did you get to this place where you are right now?
Actually, Dano, it's a very strange journey. I mean, if in 2010 or 2011, at the beginning of 2011, if you'd said to me that I would be doing this kind of work, I would have said you're mad in your head. I mean, the fact of the matter is, this is a space which is really very much in the psychic world. And I had absolutely no idea that I was psychic. And it's not that I perform things like psychics that you normally think about do. I don't really do that at all. But the fact of the matter is I'm highly psychic, and I pick up things from other realms, which are quite astounding. And I had absolutely no idea. So the first part of my life, all the way up to 2011, and I'm not going to tell you how long that was, but I was very run-of-the-mill, very ordinary, very just doing what most people do, going through the admin of life, having children, getting married, running the household, doing the odd jobs. But actually, I was very unhappy in that space, very unhappy. And I really knew through the work that I did, I really knew the only way I could change my own life was I had to change myself. You can't ask another person to be different. It's an insult to ask another person to be different. They are who they are, and you are who you are. So I knew I had to change myself, and I had to find out how to do that. And so I went through all the self-development techniques that you can think of, the manifesting, the saying, all the, what are they called when you, affirmations, doing the meditations. And I found that if I listened to everything everybody else said, I'd be spending 2 hours a day just trying to do this to change myself. And then I found out later that this only works on your conscious mind, and actually your subconscious dictates 90% of what you do. So it's a waste of time, 2 hours, and I didn't have 2 hours a day to waste. I was too busy being depressed. You don't want to encroach on your depression time, so that didn't help. So then started my journey of how to change the subconscious. So that started about 2008, 9. And by 2011, I found the answer, and I trained. I went for a few sessions of this modality, and it changed my life. My life changed 100%, a 180-degree turn in my life. I moved out of my relationship, which wasn't working for me. And it was, I could either choose to be unhappy for the rest of my life, or I could do something about it. So I actually chose to do something about it and be unhappy on my own terms rather than have anyone else to blame. So that's what I did. And this technique.
So you went through this transformational process yourself. You experienced this transformation firsthand, and then after that, that was how you started to extend this kind of blessing to other people.
Yeah, well, you see, when I was going through, I wasn't looking to do it for anybody else. I was trying to deal with my own wretched problem, and in the course of that, I mean, I did the first course it's theta healing, but I don't just do theta healing, but that was the basis of what I did. When I did that, I suddenly found out that I was psychic and that this is what I was born to do. It was so easy. It was so easy. It was like falling off a log. It was like I could just do it. And I already had a depth of knowledge that the people in my class didn't have. So it was quite astounding. And then my life just rocketed from there. And now I'm in a position where I am like, if anything goes wrong, there's only one person that needs to be complained to, and that's myself. So I always say to my friends, if I'm complaining, I've got no complaints. I've got a wonderful, interesting life. And actually what's mainly come out of it is that I have this gift and I can help so many people and have helped so many people just change their lives around. And so that's my story.
Wow, that's impressive. And I mean, we've known each other for quite some time now, and you are one of the happiest people I know, honestly. And another quality I find very outstanding is how you take control, how you take responsibility, how you are looking inside first to make changes and not pointing fingers and not blaming others for whatever problem is happening. So I think that's a very remarkable quality, to just be able to change our life by change from within, by starting from within.
Yes, and actually it's rooted in some belief systems that I have. Okay, so I'm going to say I know, but for everybody else's intents and purposes, I say I believe, is that the law of karma is the law that underpins this whole creation. So whatever you sow, you reap. So if you're in a really bad position, well, you have got yourself there, and that means, maybe you did something really bad in a last lifetime, but you've also had some good things. So then you've done some good as well. So you don't have to cut yourself up and say, a lot of people say, oh, well, if karma exists there and I'm in such a bad place, I must have been a really bad person. But the truth is that we all have good and bad. So you're just going through the part that's the bad part right now. So in other words, everything is your own fault and you can't blame anyone else. And this is an amazing, amazing thing when it comes to the consultations, because when I tell somebody it's their fault, and when I explain and I give them the big picture, then they don't feel so bad anymore. It changes your perspective. And so the law of karma, it also works for you. I think if you can hack the law of karma, you hack life. Because if you realize you're responsible for everything, you can sow things that you want in the future right now.
But it's a difficult step. I think I find it's much more comfortable to not take responsibility, right? I mean, it's so much easier to blame others, our parents, our bosses, whoever, for our misery. I think it's, for many people, it's a huge step to say, well, this is me. I am responsible. I am, I have to take control and I have to be in charge of this. To me, that's a huge step to take, because it's so much more comfortable to just sit back and say, well, you guys, you are the ones who made me feel like this.
Yeah, you can do that. And sure, it's difficult, but that's where coming for a consultation, I make it easy, I think. You just lift, because we have these beliefs. They've been ingrained in us for not just this lifetime, for many lifetimes, that somebody else is to blame. Okay, so it's natural, it is natural. And if you haven't done that work on yourself before in a past life, in this life, it is going to be difficult. So, but where you're at, and you start in small steps, and basically, if you have a consult, if we lift the beliefs, then it's easy to do. It's really easy. Right. And it's so liberating. It is so liberating because okay, so I really did something bad in my past. Now I'm paying for it. I'm paying my debts, but once I've paid it, it's done and dusted. I can move on, and I can build debts that are going to come back to me. So that means service. That means giving. That means putting good into the world. I love the concept. I love the concept. It makes it so easy to do these things. And it's very self-serving, really. It's actually very selfish. I mean, people have this thing, I mustn't be selfish, but I'm all about being selfish, because it's your own self-interest, really. If you do good you put in good into the world, you're going to get good back. You have to. That's how it works. There's no other way. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Let's get some examples. What would be an example or two examples of the limiting beliefs that you come across in your work?
Okay, so a limiting belief. Okay, let me just think. I have to. Every time there's I have to in anything, that's a limiting belief. You don't have to do anything, but I have to love my parents. I have to love my siblings. I have to be a good mother. I have to do this. I have to do that. Those are all limiting beliefs. We change those very super fast. Find them, change them. Because when you have to do something, if you have to love, for instance, I love this one. I have to love my parents, okay? It's the worst thing in the world. Do you want to be loved? If I'm a parent, I don't want to be loved because my child feels they have to love me. I just want them to love me because they want to love me. I want to be loved because somebody wants to love me, not because they have to love me. So I'm lifting that one a lot of times for people. And another thing I do for people, which I think is profound, is we have past life experiences with the people around us. We've probably made vows to them. We've promised, if you were desperately in love with someone, you so glibly say, I'll love you forever. And oh my heavens, you don't want that, okay? Because that means in the next lifetime, the next lifetime, the next lifetime, you're still loving them. So we cut those bonds. We resolve those issues. If you were a slave and a master, and you come with that impression, they've made a big impression to you in a past life, you come into this one, dissolving those things, it frees you up. It frees you up, and then you can be who you are. I'm all about helping people be exactly who they are. There's no point in being in this world if you're going to live on someone else's terms, or you're going to be what someone else wants you to be. I mean, what's the point of you having a life at all? No, I'm that, that bugs me. So I try to help people. No, you be who you are and own it. Good or bad, own who you are and be who you are, because that's what you're here to do. You're not here to be somebody else.
I like the sound of it. I mean, coming from a background, I mean, I have experienced psychotherapy, for example. I have spent many hours in therapy sessions, and I know how long it can take, and I know how intense and really, I mean, how it can take a lot of energy to do these sessions over years. So I wonder. And that's like the classic way to improve ourselves and to grow as a person. Now, I would like to know, how is your technique, or how do you work as compared to therapy, the classic way, how do you remove these limiting beliefs? How does it work?
Okay, so first of all, you've got to know how to find them. So what I do is I tap into the energy field of the person. Now, the beauty of this is they can be anywhere. They don't have to be in my office. They can be on a planet, or they can be dead. They can be alive. They can be not be yet born. It doesn't matter. Energy is energy. So wherever the energy is, I can find them and work on it. It's beautiful. So I always say, if you're on Uranus or Saturn or something, or Mars, I can help you. It's just like
Let's
amazing.
stick with planet Earth for now. So on a Zoom call,
it's planet Earth, yeah.
I mean, for like the general application of people on planet Earth, you can do this on a Zoom call to summarize.
Yeah. Okay, we can do it on the
That's
Zoom
one.
call.
Yeah.
A person comes into my office, they sit down, and we just converse like we're talking now. And I will, but what I do as a soul coach is I have to believe in God, because for me, I connect with this energy of source, or the energy of all that is. I call it creator. And I have to believe that, otherwise I put me in the loony bin, definitely, because if that's not real, then things are crazy, But
does your client have to believe in God?
Not at all. That's the wonderful thing about it. A lot of people think that they have to have faith, and you don't have to believe a damn thing. You don't have to, but I have to. And then they have to be open to allowing me to tell them these strange stories of karma, of past lives, and, just be aware that we're going into a field that they don't have to believe in. They can take it with a pinch of salt. But whether it is true or not, whether there is a creator or there isn't a creator, this technique actually accesses this energy that is not accessible in our physical realm, okay? And when I'm speaking to somebody in their session, what's happening is that their cells are actually resonating with the story I'm telling. The story is always relevant to the person, but their cells and their energy and the vibration, and they tend to lift their vibration. And as their vibration lifts, the healing happens. They become lighter, they feel better, and they don't have to think about it. And when you go, you're different. When you leave my office, you're different. From when
it's all about vibration. Vibration is a very essential element of what you're doing, right? To kind of raising the frequency, which is a concept that I really enjoy, and I like this concept. I've read a lot about this in the Power versus Force book, and I think it resonates with me, this concept that our state of mind can be reflected or can be gauged by a frequency. And the higher the frequency goes, the nearer we get to our full potential, or to a state of love, or however you want to call it.
Absolutely, yes. Love is the vibration that we're all aiming at. And it's not the kind of love that you talk about, or you see, we don't have any concept of what it is. We're just aiming for it. So that's the goal. And the higher our vibration, the closer we get to that goal. And then when we reach that goal, we reach our full potential. That's really what happens. But, running around here on this planet Earth, we all are assailed with huge blocks, the energy on Earth is very heavy, and navigating through it is tiring. That's why we don't live that long. Okay. It's tiring.
Okay.
So, we get worn out. So I love. So basically, the healing happens. Healing. I say often that I'm an energy healer, and then it's very hard to quantify what that is. But for me, healing happens on 3 levels. It can happen in 3 ways. So if you've got a physical ailment, say for instance, you might have a broken arm. Okay, you come for a session. Maybe by some miracle, through the technique, it's instantly healed. And that does happen. People have done that. People are quite good at that. but it isn't always the case. Okay, so that's the one way you may be healed. The second way you are maybe healed is that you're led to the right practitioner to fix you. Okay, so you'll get to the right doctor, not the wrong one. Okay, that actually does more damage or more harm than good. You get to the good one that fixes it good. And the third one is it never heals, but you know why it hasn't healed. You understand what's happening, and then you're able to cope with the disability. And that, I think, is the most profound healing, and it's the most subtle one, and it's the one that people don't really understand and they don't get. But you don't have, you, as I say, if you need to suffer some disease or disorder to pay a karmic debt, all right, there's no way you can go around it. You can't go up, you can't go around it, you can't go below it. You have to go through it. And then if you have to go through it, why not have the right attitude and mindset? And then it's actually not an issue anymore. You manage it.
Yeah, it's much more easy to carry this, to suffer when we know why, right? When we know that there is a reason, and maybe there's an end as well somewhere.
Exactly. Well, there's always an end, that I can tell you.
Yeah.
Where, when, or how, but there's always an end, because the sun always comes. Okay.
Great. Yeah, that is very insightful. So we have spoken about like things which are way outside of our everyday life, I guess. So why don't we look at an example? Let's say, if like how does your coaching process work? Somebody like finds you, they take the first call with you, the discovery call. So what is normally, how does it work? How does it progress? And what kind of limiting beliefs or issues would you say are you typically encountering and dealing with and fixing?
Okay, so if somebody comes into my office, the first thing that usually happens, okay, the discovery call, I give them a little insight into how I work so that they know what to expect. Okay, so I'll change a belief for them. Our creator tells me what it is, and I just change it and I explain it, and yeah, that in itself is wonderful. But then in a session, if they come to me, the first thing I usually do is a prayer, and the prayer is prompted. And then in the prayer, it usually, within the prayer, 99% of the time, the person is in tears already, because it just touches those chords of things that the issues that they couldn't verbalize, and where we're going to go with it and what the person needs at that time. And then I will always explain that I never do anything without their permission. I always tell them exactly what's going on. And the integrity of the whole process is protected in two ways. One, I don't do a thing unless the creator gives me permission. Okay, for me, I don't do anything without his guidance, and I call it a him, but it could be a her, nobody cares, but to me it's a he. And
the boss.
And the boss, the boss. Okay, and then I also get the permission from the client and complete transparency, so they know what's happening, and that at any time if they're uncomfortable, they say so. So then, having done that, then I often ask them, what would they like addressed? What's the major issue? And sometimes people will say something specific, or sometimes they'll say, I'm not sure, things are not just right, maybe just look for me. And then we'll go, and creator will guide me. And so everything I do is guided by the creator. So some typical examples, people have a lot of relationship problems. They might have had a traumatic childhood, for instance. Now, the thing about trauma is that we never go and revisit the trauma. Never go and revisit it. Don't need to. If you find that that's what's worrying you or what's tripping you up, then we go and lift the trauma so that
that is very different from typical psychotherapy, where we actually are encouraged to go back and to kind of re-experience the trauma and the drama that we have gone through as a child. So you don't do that, really?
No, we go far away from that. We deal with it without, and I don't even have to know about it. sometimes a healing will happen and I don't actually know what the issue is because it's too close to the person. They don't want to share it. Okay, but Creator will just guide me what to do, and then I'll do it, and I don't even have to know. So for instance, I had this lady come to me recently. I've been seeing her off and on, like once every 6 months or 8 months. Every now and then she pops up, and when at the outset she had a very difficult family setup. Like the father would never talk to the mother, and the brother was a layabout, and he was just taking up space in the house and just being everybody had to feed him. They ran around him, and he's useless. 18 or whatever. Useless. Yeah, we know the story. Anyway, what we'd all like to be, actually. But so she couldn't relate. She didn't get on well with her mother, and she didn't get on with her father, hardly spoke to him at all, and it was just a nightmare. Anyway, she came to me, and we just started working on her own issues. What subconscious beliefs she had about her work, about where she was living, about the people she was working with, about her family. We just lifted one or two here or there. And in fact, now, without her having to say anything or tell the parents, or just by changing her own vibration, the whole family dynamic has changed, and it is just like 1,000% better. Wow. So she's got this wonderful relationship with her mother. Yeah, she's become very close to her mom, and she speaks to her dad, and they get on much better. And she only worked on herself. So that's what I say. If you take responsibility for yourself, you want your life to be better, you do what you have to do to make your life better, then people around you have to react differently to you because your vibration is different. And it also comes with a caveat, because you must know that when your vibration changes, some people can't come with you. They just cannot come with you. So in the process of myself, of doing this, I lost some people who I thought were my best friends, but actually they were never my friends. I only realized it later, when I realized what a friend really is. And they just couldn't come with me. So.
Okay. So we also have to take we could leave things behind because they're just not moving along with us. So if we embark on a journey, I think it's kind of natural that, some people might just not want to follow us, but,
yes,
and which is sad, but it's just part of the picture. So if we're going somewhere, only some people will come with us, and we will meet new people at that place, but some people will be left behind. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. But it doesn't mean you don't stop loving them or liking them. It's just that they can't see you anymore. Okay. And you can love whoever you want, and you can still like. I have lots of friends who are not my friend. They are my friends because once I'm a friend, I'm a friend. I don't change that, but they don't want to be in my space. So that's just, and actually, if you do a lot of work on yourself, and not just this kind of work, but any kind of work that you do on yourself, people are going to be left behind. They don't want to come because they don't want to take responsibility for themselves. Yeah. So, and I love people who want to take responsibility for who they are and who want to be better, and I'll do whatever I can to help them.
Wow, sure. That's amazing.
Yeah, and amazing, Beryl. You also have to remember that in a process like this, you might find yourself in a vacuum with a few friends, the ones that maybe can tag along because you've got some money or something. But you have a vacuum, but that does leave a lot of space open for new wonderful people to come into your life. So my world expanded into all over the world from doing this kind of thing, whereas before it was just stuck in Joburg, and that's where I was going to stay, and that's quite confining. So yeah.
That is very inspiring, Beryl. I mean, yeah, you're doing things which, I mean, I don't know anyone else who does things like this, and that's maybe just me. But I think your work is amazing and
Thanks.
and inspiring. And I can only recommend whoever's watching this to find the link wherever it is to book this free discovery call with Beryl. It's a free call, and to get to meet Beryl and to speak with her and to experience what she has to offer to me is a can be a rather life-changing experience. So I hope we get many more sessions like this to get into more depth of what you're doing. But I think for today, we gave our viewers a very good impression, like a first impression, what it is you do. And
That's fantastic, Dana. Thank you for the opportunity. And really, I'd love to meet everybody, actually. I do find that when I meet people and when I work with them, I see them on a level nobody else sees them on. And there's not one person I haven't walked away and not loved that person.
oh
So
my
it's
God.
a very safe space. So there you go.
I'm having goosebumps right now, honestly, because I know exactly what you mean. So yeah, this being seen in a completely different perspective, like nobody else has seen us before. This is, to me, it's a life-changing experience, and I really want to thank you for that.
Yeah, and actually the other thing about that is I reflect back to you aspects of yourself, and I'm sure, Dana, you realized this, was I reflect back to you aspects of yourself that you didn't know were there. And you thought, okay, I'm not so bad after all. I have some issues, but yeah, there's something to love there. And yeah, self-love is all, it's a key. It's a
Yeah.
key. Okay.
Beautiful closing statement. Thank you, Beryl, so much for getting on this little interview with me. And I wish you all the best on your journey. And I wish as many people as possible to get to know you and work with you, because I know how you can benefit them. Thank you very
Okay,
much,
thanks.
Beryl.
Okay,
Talk to you
then.
soon.
Bye. All right. Bye.